process of life. But with the right love and upbringing, they will become the masters of our shared destiny tomorrow and the keepers and the stewards of the human race. They are the ones who will end up teaching us how to be and how to live on this planet, in this world. And they can only be as great as we empower them to be today. I think there's nothing more important in the evolution of our species and of the planet than the proper stewardship of our children. Kids, the organization, is all about providing growth and development opportunities for children in places where some of that growth and some of that developmental assistance may be lacking, in developing environments. What Kids really does better than the other organizations I've come across is focusing on sustainable solutions, so solutions that become automated and self-propelling and independent of initial aid.
Well, Kids Initiative has been in effect for 10 years now, since 2009. In the first 5 years of our 10-year stint thus far, we've managed to accomplish providing medical supplies to the Gong Hospital, school supplies, school uniforms, and a water tank to the Diani Primary School. We looked at providing the medication and food supplies to 80 families or so annually for the Kieni Fighters of HIV/AIDS program. We've also managed to supply furniture, school supplies, 8 new toilet blocks, and textbooks to the Giwa Farm Resettlement IDP camp, so the Shalom School therein. And we also just recently provided a agriculture and food security project for the school so that they have a continuous feeding program, so every child gets a meal every day. And we've been able to retire that program as well. And we've also managed to supply different types of basic needs in terms of food, health supplies, and also implemented both a greenhouse project and a dairy project at the Mama Tunza Children's Center. In addition to the successes that we saw in the first 5 years, we were also successful in the Bonita IDP camp. We managed to find a sustainable water source for the IDP camp, resulting in them being able to harvest crops for a sustainable feeding program. And we saw the IDP camp do a complete 360 and were successful in retiring them. We took on a new program, the Lamolo IDP camp. And in that program, what we managed to do is we managed to provide them with some school supplies as well, some sporting equipment, but then we also looked at implementing a harvest irrigation project, which allowed them to harvest and provide for a feeding program for the school there as well. We then looked at taking on our largest project to date at the time, which was an agriculture and food security project for over 7,000 individuals, so over 700 families, I believe, in the IDP camp, which provided every single family with 1 to 2 acres of land, seeds, and fertilizer for them to be able to have their own income generating business and be able to sustain themselves. The latest project that we're actually implementing in that IDP camp, which will render them sustainable status, is the Lamolo IDP camp borehole project. So what this will do is this will provide a sustainable water source, safe, clean drinking water, but also providing water during times of drought so that they can continue their harvest and their income generating projects. And once we see this fully implemented in this IDP camp, we'll be able to retire them.
Originally, Kids stood for the Kenya Initiative for Development and Sustainability. And that's because some of the programs and initiatives that originally were part of the organization had to do and were focused in Kenya, the country. Many of those initiatives have been successfully completed and closed now, and what we've found is that there is an overwhelming need across the world in so many different developing communities for the types of assistance that Kids brought to bear in Kenya. The organization itself has evolved to provide and to bring that successful program development and delivery to other developing communities all over the world. Children are children, kids are kids anywhere. So the acronym has stopped being about Kenya specifically and has become about children all over the world, wherever development needs bring us. You know, it's easy enough to say we're all about kids all over the world in developing communities. But to get specific about it, we want to alleviate poverty. We want to provide sustainability in the delivery of food and water. we want to provide all children all over the world with the ability for a sound education to the highest level that they can achieve it. And in doing that, we also want to protect the health, the physical health of children.
I've been blown away by the amount of support that the organization has been given in the last 10 years. We've managed to see a handful of our programs meet or reach sustainable status. That's not something that I could have imagined right off the hop. And we couldn't have done it without the support of our volunteers, our amazing team, our board of directors, our donors, the individuals that come out to actually support our events and our fundraising initiatives. The amount of support that we've received from the community is exactly what has managed to help us achieve the successes that we've seen in our programs. And I want individuals to know that when they're focusing on wanting to support an organization, we're always going to ensure that we are focusing on utilizing our donor dollars efficiently, that we are so appreciative of the time that they can commit as a volunteer. Simply the support and the lending of a hand has essentially changed the lives of our partners in these developing communities that we support. So you may think that you've donated $10 or spent an afternoon volunteering at an event, but essentially what you've done is completely changed the life of someone in a developing community. There's no price tag on that. That's absolutely something that we want to continue to encourage, but also note that we're so appreciative of the support that we've received. After working the last 10 years towards the successes that we've seen in our programs with Kids Initiative, it's important that we act now. It's important that we continue to expand and ensure that we're focusing on initiatives worldwide. There's such great need. We need to be the positive role models that our future leaders need in order to be able to empower them, to be able to provide them with the life full of rights and peace and abundance. And we need to be able to ensure that they have this great foundation to grow from in order to then act as role models for the next generation. Now is the time. You are a part of a world where people live more and suffer less.